So the Seattle Seahawks had a very interesting day one draft. As the car goes by, they did something super interesting that I loved. They got elite at two different positional groups: wide receiver Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, I believe is how you say it, JSN. Let me know if I'm saying his name correctly. I'm gonna have to get that down now because I cover the Seahawks. And then corner Tariq Woolen, 4th round pick last season, looking like has this superstar written all over him. I mean, he was one of the best corners as a rookie with that length, that speed. He can get to any ball. Elite man coverage guy. And you pair him with Evan Witherspoon, another great man coverage guy, can get after you. When you have corners who can play man like that, it makes everyone else better. It does them a lot of things, especially if you're getting after the quarterback. You now have more time to do so because your corners are so damn good. The Seahawks, they still have a need at edge. They still have a need at nose tackle, interior offensive line, linebacker. Oh, but wait, they have 2 second-round picks, right? They have a 3rd-round pick. So we're going to see them make 3 picks tonight. And it's pouring out tonight, so I'm going to be there watching just like I was yesterday. Overall, Seattle has impressed me. My second favorite player, my first favorite player in the draft is Anthony Richardson. He actually fell to my team, the Colts, which is crazy. My second favorite player in this draft was JSN. Why? He doesn't drop the ball. He's always open. He doesn't have the speed where he's just going to blow by you. But his route running ability, the cuts he makes, is just, it's so fascinating to watch. He's going to get the most out of Metcalf. He's going to get the most out of Lockett. The thing about this is that if something were to happen, an injury, well, now you have 3 legit wide receivers. I'm looking at Garrett Wilson, right? Chris Olave. JSN was seen as the best player out of Ohio State, and now he's on the Seahawks at 20. If it wasn't for the injuries, that hamstring where he played, 3 games at the top of my head last season, if it wasn't for that, he wouldn't have been there at 20. And that's coming directly from Pete Carroll and John Snyder. The Seahawks, they absolutely killed this draft so far. You don't need me to tell you that. You know that. No one's going to go in the comment section and be like, I'm going to be honest, Jalen Carter, we should have just got him. We should have just took a chance and hope he worked out. The thing is, we know that Witherspoon's going to work out. Pete Carroll said it himself. He's the best prospect he's seen since Troy Polamalu, right, in the secondary. He compared him to Richard Sherman. He's that good. I mean, this is a guy who just has no weaknesses. He plays above his size and coverage. He can do it all. And players like that normally aren't there. I know a lot of you guys, a lot of, not even Seahawks fans, because Seahawks fans weren't like that, but a lot of analysts were like, Seattle, they're not going to be picking at 5 probably for a while. Take a quarterback, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. Or maybe at 18, go ahead and get a guy like a Hendon Hooker, right? But the Seahawks, they're going all in on Geno Smith. That doesn't mean that they won't draft a quarterback. I certainly don't see them drafting Will Levis if he falls to them in the 2nd round. But later on, are they going to take someone? Yeah, I mean, Drew Lock is the backup right now. He hasn't really shown me any signs of being a starter. Backup, absolutely. But if something were to happen to Geno, like, he gets hurt or he ends up getting cut for some crazy reason, Drew Lock certainly wouldn't be the guy to put the Seahawks over the top. So to go out there and try to get someone, find a player, I think it's worth taking a chance on, especially because the Seahawks have a lot of picks to work with. How many? I'm trying to think. You guys have, I don't know how many picks they have in the mid rounds, but I know that they have a good amount because, of course, they've been making some moves and things like that. But I think the biggest thing overall that the Seahawks have going for them is just talent, right? They still have a lot of depth that they need to fill in. But that's what the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds are for. And if we look at who's on the board right now, this is a loaded 2nd rounder. This is a loaded 2nd round. How about Osiris Torrance out of Florida? Speaking of the Gators, I mean, this is a guy that's just mean in the run game. If you pair him on that young Seahawks offensive line, of course, tackle play, they've got good ones. I'm looking at Abraham Lucas, and of course, you guys ended up drafting a tackle in the 1st round last year. Really testing my knowledge here because I didn't come with any sort of notes, but it was Charles Cross. Yeah, Charles Cross. You pair those guys with a Torrance in the interior, I mean, that's incredible. Kenneth Walker, the Seahawks are always going to be a run-first team. They have 3 incredible receivers. They have an accurate guy in Geno Smith, but they're always going to be a run-first team. That's why we saw them go out there and draft easily the number 1 running back in terms of running the ball. Breece Hall, I thought, was a more overall back, but in terms of a pure runner, Yeah, that was easily Kenneth Walker, and we saw that in full display. I mean, he was absolutely fantastic before the injury, of course. But what about Steve Avila, right? I mean, TSU can play pretty much anywhere. Michael Mayer. The Seahawks already have the best tight end group. I mean, you could argue Kansas City. They have a top 2 tight end group. Do they want to just go, hey, a top tight end probably in the class? You guys might think it's Dalton Kincaid. You might be right. Personally, I don't know. Michael Mayer, he's 6'5", 249, contested catch guy. He's going to be Geno's best friend. He'd be Geno Smith's best friend right away. And just the way that he can get underneath and just run routes, it's going to be fun to watch. I don't think Seahawks will do that. Jonathan Mingo, definitely not. Yeah, I'm kidding. They're not going to take a receiver. But what about like BJ Ojulari out of LSU, 12.5 sacks in his final 2 seasons at LSU. He's definitely a very good pass rusher. Can get after the quarterback. He'd be great here, of course. That's kind of it. I mean, Darnell Washington could be the second pick if they pass on Mayer or he ends up going before them. I don't think Mayer will go before the Seahawks because who would take him? I don't see the Colts drafting a tight end. They're probably going to go offensive line, try to get a guy in the interior. I mean, I don't know anything at the end of the day, but personally, Seahawks, their biggest needs, I would say in order, is definitely going to be defensive end for sure, nose tackle, interior, and then linebacker. I would say linebacker might be actually a higher need. It's not a good linebacker class. I was shocked that the Lions took one at 18, going out there, of course, and getting the fantastic, 6'5", ran a 4.65, tested well, and Campbell, of course, going out and getting Jack Campbell. So yeah, but the Seahawks, they're in a great spot. Personally, if I'm comparing the Lions to the Seahawks, I thought the Seahawks had an A draft so far, going out and just getting... the Seahawks had 2 players on their board that they would have taken at number 5. One of them was there. It ended up being Witherspoon. And then to get JSN at 20, he was the first receiver off the board. He was my number 1 receiver. I think he's going to be an absolute star. He's going to help the Seahawks instantly. I mean, you could debate that JSN is the not the safest because of the hamstring, but you could argue that JSN, we know exactly what he's going to bring. Like, we know he's going to be a good player as long as he stays in the field. That's the type of faith that I have in him. I mean, he's going to walk in and play the slot. Doesn't play much outside, but overall, his route running ability, getting open, it's just going to make things easier for Geno. If the Seahawks continue to improve the defense, they just went out and got potentially another number 1 corner. If they have 2 number 1 corners moving forward, and then, of course, they just improve the front, improve the edge, linebackers. I mean, they got Bobby Wagner. You guys did bring in Bobby Wagner, which was a big thing. I mean, this was he actually graded as the number 1 linebacker last season. Of course, he's not going to be a 3-down guy. You're going to see Bobby a lot of early downs. But overall, I think Seattle, to me, is a Super Bowl contender. The only team in the NFC right now that I don't even... No, that's not true. I don't think there's one team that I don't think the Seahawks could beat. I was going to say the Eagles, but I don't know. I think the Seahawks can beat anyone. The 49ers, I mean, they were literally beating them at halftime, and the Niners... They did get Javon Hargrave, might have been the best free agent available, but they did lose a lot of depth. The Seahawks continue to gain depth because of their amount of picks. But yeah, guys, it's your boy Swaggy. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts, guys. If I miss anything, feel free to get on me, man. And yeah, peace.